Welcome back. You're listening to Get Real, and I'm your host, Bob Gallagher. Joining me in studio today is very special guest Collin Bray, Vice President of Sales at Century 21 Cityside in Boston. Welcome to the show, Collin.
Thank you for having me.
So we love having agents come on from Boston because even though it's only 30 minutes away from where our studios are, it might as well be a different world when it comes to real estate. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you specialize in?
Sure. Well, put on your seatbelt because this is going to be a fast track about the city.
Okay.
We're going to have a great show. And yeah, what we do is we help clients buy, sell, invest in real estate, specifically condominiums and townhomes in downtown Boston. So think Back Bay, Newberry Street, Commonwealth Avenue, all of the beautiful streets in downtown Boston.
Absolutely. Beautiful areas.
Incredible.
Yeah. So you actually get into a lot of renovation in addition to working as an agent, correct?
Yeah, so you know that Boston is going through a boom.
Yes.
There's tons of development,
Yeah.
a lot of construction. So we actually help advise our clients on what to do when they want to renovate a property. And that might be a specific individual townhome, or it might be a 30 or 40 unit building that they're converting to condominiums.
Wow. Now, 30 or 40 units, I mean, that's got to be a hell of a project to undertake in a city.
It's a huge undertaking. It takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
As well as you've got to have multiple pieces involved. So it's not just the contractor, it's the architect, it's the designer. There's so many people in the process.
Yeah. What about, you hear about the planning and permitting process in Boston. Is it as tough as they make it out to be?
Absolutely.
It really is, huh?
Oh, yeah. It's very difficult. But the city works with developers. They want development to happen. So Mayor Marty Walsh has this plan, 2030 plan, to add 53,000 new housing units in the city of Boston.
53,000. And that's not, that's 12 years. That's not a long time.
No.
Well, 13 years.
It's a short span, and we've got a lot of work to do, but there's a lot of developments in the pipeline. So they are pro-development. They don't make it too difficult.
So when you say there's a lot of developments in the pipeline, and I won't hold you to this, but if you had to guess at the number of units that are coming on in the next couple of years, is it even going to put a dent in that 53,000 number?
Absolutely.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think if we look at, half that time frame, we're definitely on track to meet that need.
Wow. I'm surprised. I figured we were way behind the 8 ball, but it sounds like it's really, well, I guess, you know what? Now when you drive into Boston, as long as it's anywhere but the Pike, like if you go in Route 9, all the way in on both sides, it's like everything's getting torn down and rebuilt.
Oh, yeah. If you're listening right now and you're driving on the Pike, look up because there's cranes in the sky.
Yeah.
Boston is going through a building boom. It's incredible.
Wow. Must be fun to be part of it.
It is. And challenging and daunting.
Yeah.
And scary.
Yeah.
And fun.
Yeah. Now, what about the process of getting contractors once you're in the city? Do you guys have groups that you work with, or is it just whoever you can get?
So if you're an individual homeowner and you own a condo or you own a townhouse and you live in the city, typically a referral from someone who's had work done, from a friend in the neighborhood, that's often the best resource to get a good contractor. We also have a short list of contractors we work with that we highly recommend.
Oh, excellent, excellent. So what about the logistics of actually going through a renovation in Boston? Because, it's not like you're just renovating a single-family home and you're dealing with a couple of floors in the middle of nowhere. You guys are on busy streets and busy areas.
Yeah.
How do you negotiate all or deal with all that stuff?
I don't deal with any of that. That's
good.
Madness. I help them buy and sell the home, and I get out of there.
Oh, good.
No, so what the contractors have to go through is they have to go through a process of permitting, often sectioning off or basically renting out parking spaces in front of the buildings from the city. So they can keep a dumpster there, so they can crane in appliances or sheetrock.
Wow.
And that's how most moves in the city happen. So don't even think about hiring a mover that's going to take things up the stairs. Wow. Nowadays, if you live in a walk-up on a 4th or 5th floor, they crane in a lot of the furniture. They just take out one of the windows.
Wow. Moving in by crane. So we rent a U-Haul. You guys have to get a crane to get into housing.
City of the suburbs.
Wow. That must be a sight to see, though. Seeing a couch get hoisted five stories in the air.
Oh, yeah. Order a pizza, get a 6-pack, stand on the city street and watch. It's a movie.
Wow. Now, when it comes down to, you kind of represent the buyer the whole way through. You were telling me before we got started today, you were giving me an example of what it's like buying in the city now versus even a few years ago. Can you share that story with our audience?
Oh, I'd love to. Yeah, first, if you're a home buyer and you're listening right now, the most important thing to do is educate yourself. So to go through the process means seeing inventory, learning the neighborhood. And you can do that by going to a restaurant, going to a coffee shop, asking your friends for recommendations, spending time in an area. Because we all buy places because of the way we feel. If we feel comfortable or happy, or we know that other people feel that way, or there are amenities that we love, like our gym, or great restaurants, all of those things bring out emotion. So find a neighborhood that stimulates an emotion. That's the most important thing. And you can't do that by sitting on the couch.
Right.
You got to get out there.
I would like to know what neighborhood that donut store is in that you mentioned to me this morning.
Ah, yes, Blackbird Donuts in the South End on Tremont Street. Right, free PR for them. So they better send me donuts for life.
Yeah, they should. They should.
So that's one thing to do that buyers can really feel comfortable with. The next step is once you know an area that you want to buy in, it may not be a traditional search. So, for example, I worked with a client for 4 months searching for his dream condo in the city, and he couldn't find that right place, or he was outbid.
Right.
So what do? He found a place that came on the market, and he didn't even look at it. He made an offer sight unseen, $100,000 plus over the asking price.
Wow.
And when he walked into it and he looked around and he walked out, he looked at me and he said, "Collin, we stole that place." He felt like he actually got a great deal.
Right.
And he did.
Right.
So the search and the process has really changed from now to 5-10 years ago.
Right. And then you mentioned that he also did some development on the property as well.
He hired a contractor to renovate and the apartment from top to bottom, so a full restoration.
Wow.
New kitchen, new floors, new bathroom, new washer and dryer, new stairs, the whole shebang.
And how did he end up when it was all said and done?
Well, he was nauseous because he had to go through the process of renovating.
Yeah.
So everyone feels that. It always takes longer than you expect. If they tell you 3 months, it's 5 months. And if they tell you it's 100,000, it's probably going to be 120. And that's the process. So you just have to know going in that there are going to be some hurdles. But the benefit at the end is you tend to always get exactly what you want.
Yes.
Your paint colors.
Yeah.
Your kitchen cabinets. The right amount of closet space. The right stain on the floors. So you get your dream. That's the benefit.
Excellent. Excellent. And the other thing you mentioned too was after it was all said and done, because a lot of people are listening and they're thinking, especially if you're not in the city, you're thinking, wow, 100,000 over asking plus a full rehab, is he upside down now?
Absolutely not.
Wow. And
the reason he's not upside down is the majority of clients looking in the city don't have time to do a renovation project. So you have to think about the value of your time. People want to travel. They want to go out. They have to work. They want to go to the gym. They don't have time to sit and manage a contractor.
Right.
So what he's done is he's done all of that legwork and he's created peace of mind and value for the next homeowner. Wow. So the property now today is worth probably about $100,000 more than what he paid and more than what he put into the renovation. So he's got some great equity in that property because it's a great location.
That's excellent. That's excellent. And would you say that that's, I don't want to say fairly representative, but it's not uncommon for that to happen if you go through the process?
Absolutely not.
Wow.
What ends up being a pain in the butt can be a pot of gold at the end.
Absolutely. That's a great way to look at it. So, and what did you say? It took him about 6 months?
About 6 months.
So 6 months of pain, but he got exactly what he wanted, and he has equity in it. I mean, you can't really beat that. Now, can you share with us why you think it is? Because for years, so many people were moving away from the city. It seemed like everybody wanted to be in the suburbs. There was a massive decline in the city for years. Now it seems to have changed 180 degrees. It seems like everybody wants to be downtown. Can you share with us why you think that is?
I can. I'd love to know, though, why would you move downtown? What would be a reason that you would leave the suburbs to go to the city?
Because if you want to do anything in the suburbs, you got to get in a car and drive somewhere.
Got it. Yeah. So it's walkability is one reason. Think about all the great restaurants, shops, parks, the theater. There's so much happening. The city has this energy, this buzz that who wouldn't want to live in the city if they can make it work? Now, you typically don't get the yard.
Right.
And the square footage.
Right.
And there's always cycles in life. And Boston goes through the same thing, where there's a lot of people that are leaving the city because they're starting families.
Right.
But at the same time, there are the families that now the kids are out to college and they want to come back.
Yeah.
So there's just one big circle that happens. That's actually why I'm in business. That's why I have a job.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah.
Keep having babies.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. Now, you talked about square footage. The square footage, if memory serves, I think the average for a single-family home in the suburbs is somewhere around 2,000 square feet. What is it? And then that's a nationwide average, obviously. If you're closer to the city, it shrinks a little bit. If you're actually in the city, what's a good square footage number, or what should you expect reasonably?
For a single family?
Yeah, or even for a condo.
It runs such a wide gamut. But if you're looking for a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, typically we're talking between 1,000 to 1,400 square feet. That's actually the magic number.
Yeah.
So if you're a developer or a builder, most developers and builders are building right in and around that amount of square footage. 2-bedroom, 2-bath.
Right. But if you got a family, you're going to have to get a little bit more space.
You need more space.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no if. You need it.
Yeah.
And there are options out there.
Yeah.
But like anything, more square footage means more money.
Right. And in most cases, do you see that people just move like a little bit further to the outskirts of the city and you can get a little more space?
Yes. So an emerging neighborhood, for one example, is Jamaica Plain. A lot of our clients that live in the city could be the South End, Beacon Hill, even Back Bay, they're moving to Brookline for the school systems, or if they don't have kids, they're moving to JP because they get so much more space, and they still have the proximity to the city. It's still close.
Nice. Now, what are some of the up-and-coming neighborhoods? You know, if you're thinking about buying, let's say that, you know, you've lived outside the city all your life, and you know, a lot of us, myself included, and I was telling you before we got started today that I had always wanted to move closer to the city, and Natick is as close as I ever got. But for people that actually do want to live downtown, what are some good areas that they should check out? Because, I mean, a lot of us that don't live down there, we assume if you don't have $1 million, you can't get a house down there.
That's true. Don't call me if you don't have $1 million. No, I'm just kidding. So your question's great, but I think the bigger question is if I'm going to invest my hard-earned money, where is the most likely place to evolve and transform that I could buy now that likely is going to give me a great return on my investment in 3, 5, or 10 years? So what's happening with the city and that development? What new restaurants are coming to that area? And there's a number of different choices. So number one that's very popular for people is East Boston. EBO is what they're calling it.
Yeah.
It's near the water. It's a little less expensive than South Boston, and it's affordable, and it's kind of like fun and edgy.
Yeah.
You know, young people do like those vibes, the next emerging neighborhood.
Yeah. Well, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
We used to call it EB back when I lived up on the North Shore, but now EBO does sound cooler.
It does sound cooler, doesn't it? It's all branding.
Yeah, it absolutely
and
is.
if you're moving from the suburbs to the city, then certainly if you want to be downtown, Seaport is great. It has a lot of buildings with new amenities. So think elevator, garage parking, no more shoveling your own snow.
Oh, that's the one thing I did enjoy about living in a high rise. And that was the year we got a ton of snow too. Like we got like 6 feet, 7 feet, and I didn't have to shovel a bit of it. So you know what? That's another reason to move into the city. You've actually got me thinking about it right now, thinking about the winter we've got coming.
We're looking next weekend, right?
We are now.
Yeah.
I just have to convince my wife.
Okay.
So one of the other questions I wanted to ask you, and before I get to that, actually, I want to give out your contact information. You know, if you're looking to buy or sell in Boston, Collin's your man. You can give him a call on his cell, 617-512-1095. Again, it's 617-512-1095. Or you can check him out online at collinbray.com. That's Bray. So you're a top producing agent in the city, and I'd like to ask you, you know, where did you get started, or how did you get started, and what was the journey like from where you started to where you are now?
Well, I think most people in their businesses go through a process. They start in one place and they work their way up, but they have big goals and big dreams. So I fall into that category. So if you're listening, you are me, I am you. And where I started was doing rentals, you know, on Newberry Street. So when you're young, most of your friends are also young.
Yes.
And they don't have the $1 million or $2 million budget. They've got the $1,500 budget for an apartment.
Right.
So, you know, you've got to earn your keep. So I did rentals, and a lot of those rental clients became buyers. And then those landlords became investors. And then those buyers became sellers. So really it's a natural progression that for any new agent, it takes time.
Right.
You have to let it marinate.
Right.
And you got to put in the hard work. I always say the most important part of my business is getting up in the morning early, having some reason to get up, whether it's working out, whether it's making sure you've got an early coffee meeting, some reason where I got to get out of bed and I can't sleep even though it's exactly what I want to do.
Yeah.
I'm human.
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely. And can you share with us a little bit about your process as far as, how you've cultivated business over the years?
Oh, in our business, real estate, it's word of mouth. It's referrals. So do a great job for people, ask for a referral, and continue to pound the pavement. So, success does breed success.
Right.
So if you have one sale, you should be sharing that with the world and the neighborhood, the neighbors, because often sellers want to work with a successful agent in that area. So my advice for new agents is focus on a specific area, building, or a few specific streets. Become that expert in that area.
Excellent.
And that's what I've done in the Back Bay, South End, and Beacon Hill. And when you become an expert, then people will go to you.
Good.
Rather than you going to them.
Great advice. Great advice. We've only got about a minute left before we have to wrap up. I did want to ask you about buildup.com. You mentioned it briefly, and it sounds like a really exciting new tool.
Yeah, it's an incredible tool. So take a look. It's www.bldup.com, Buildup. You can find information about new developments or even just a plot of land that maybe has a crane in front of it, and you're wondering, what is that going to be? And you can find all that information on Buildup, the developer, who the architect is, when the building's going to start construction, how many units it's going to be. So a lot of great information is on that site. And we work specifically with developers who are pre-selling or planning their projects for the future, because we advise and guide them on who it is their clientele is that they're going to sell to. What type of finishes do they want to have? What square footages, what types of apartments, floor plans should they be creating? So really we guide and advise them through that process, and Buildup is a great tool.
Sounds great. I'm going to check it out myself. All right, I'm going to give you contact info out one more time. It's Collin Bray, Vice President of Sales at Century 21 Cityside. You can reach him on his cell at 617-512-1095. Again, 617-512-1095, or online at collinbray.com. Collin, great to have you on. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
That's going to do it for this segment. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be back with more Get Real after this.